How are you, folks? Enzo DiCasenzo podcast, part 6, time value of money. So let's pick up where we left off with the PowerPoints and with the Excel. Okay, we stopped last time. I think it was 22. Oh, yeah, we stopped here last time. All right, and so looking at this, and actually, this is one of the Excel models that we're going to work on. Whatever the context of this is, but you've got a couple cash flows here. You got a $1,200 cash flow, a $1,400 cash flow, and there's a variety. And this is you're talking about the nucleus of valuation is to I don't say manipulate, but how to sort of examine cash flows today, a year from now, 2 years from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, perpetuity, all that. So this particular problem says if you can put 1,200 in the bank today, which times 0, time 1, another 1,400 goes in 2 years. What's that going to be worth? This number, it's not quite this number, but it's all. I just about spent this at Mavis Tires. I had a couple tires put on, the 4 new tires put on the car balanced, and they want to change the fluids and they want to change the struts and they want to do a couple of things. But it was it was a good 1,500, just before Christmas. So it could be something where I'm saying to myself, hey, I know I've got a $2,000 auto repair bill coming. Can I start saving up for it? What can I do? Those kinds of things. Okay, so that's basically how you look at that. Folks, forgive me for checking back. Yeah, checking back with this because that timer is going to go off after 10 minutes. I don't know what the point of that is, but so anyhow, so as you look at this, 1,400 grows 8% in a year, kind of a situation. And actually, looking at this, so you recognize 1,400 a year from now, and you want to measure it 2 years from today. So it has a year to work. That's why it's only one plus 8. This 1.08. This is 1 plus 8%. And it expands to 1,512. If 1,200, from today works for 2 years, 1.08 times. Remember, we had some of these that we multiplied by 1 plus the appreciation rate. This is just like 1.08 times 1.08. That's what the square means. So the value at t equals 2 of this cash flow is about 1,400. You add them up, you have about 29.11 and 68 cents. And again, I never expect anyone to really totally understand this from the PowerPoints. We will approach this in Excel, which I think is the better way to explain it. This formula, very innocent, or maybe not so innocent looking formula. This is what I spent my Christmas break working on. These are valuations for an acquisition or a couple acquisitions that we're working on in the firm that I work for. And there's a couple cash flows that they have, the potential acquisitions. The banks have a couple cash flows. I have to, estimate, assume, project, whatever. I got to figure out what those cash flows are going to be, 5 years, 10 years, or whatever, and then come back with a number that the people I work say, hey, we're going to spend, X millions of euros acquiring this bank or that bank, this French bank, this Italian bank, whatever it may be. Okay. So, and what you do is you estimate a cash flow a year from now, a cash flow 2 years from now, a cash flow 3 years from now. And then also you have to make, again, an assumption as to what the rate of return is going to be, a mild rate of return, an 8% rate of return keeps things conservative. Something I learned at Value Line, never be extravagant with projections or estimates or any of those kinds of things. And I remember we worked with it was post Value Line, but I remember we worked with the research director and other projects, and it didn't. His work as an analyst and his work as a salesman or as a deal maker left a lot to be desired. He was a good analyst and a bad deal maker. And without going into the details, some of you may have remembered the story. He paid for it, horribly. So I don't know why, but he was the research director of Value Line in the 90s, and didn't work out for him as well a couple decades later. But what can you do? So anyhow, the valuation today at T0 is this formula. So you divide by discount rate or opportunity cost or the potential rate of return. The C1 and the C2, those are your cash flows in dollars or in euros. And again, that's the beginnings of valuation. This is another car example where you're buying a car. So I think the deal here is you could pay $15,500 now, or pay $8,000 now and then $4,000 next year and then $4,000 2 years from now. And it might seem like well, that's 16,000, but it's not really 16,000. Because what you have is you have the opportunity to only pay 8,000 today, put away some amount of money that might be less than 7,500. Okay, and then you want to determine, and I think it does work out, because you would need 8,000 plus 7,500 is 15,500. 3, 6. This is 7,100 instead of 7,500. So the just looking at it, the split up, excuse me, the split up cash flow version is a little bit better. So what you do is you say, okay, well, 4,000 a year from now, 4,000 2 years from now, what is that worth today? Well, in other words, to get to 4,000 in a year at 8% return, you need 3,703, and in 2 years, 3,429 to grow to 4,000 in 2 years. Add up all three payments in the same time frame. Adding up 8, 4, and 4 doesn't. It's not all in the same time. One is one 4,000 is a year from now, another 4,000 is 2 years from now. So that all doesn't. You're adding up in different time frames. You have to add up in the same time frame, and that's what I learned in the 4 courses I took in this topic, and the capital management topic at NJIT long ago. So what you do is you add up these three numbers, 8, 37, and 3,400. It comes out to 15,133, which is less than 15,500. So paying 15,500 up front isn't the way to go. Spreading it out over a couple of years is the way to go. And this is just diagram. You're just, and we did a lot of these with chalk and blackboard. I remember we did a lot of these with chalk and blackboard. Okay, so this is today, T0, a year from now, 2 years from now, and then you bring back the present value today. You do that. We've discussed this, the present value and spreadsheets and referring to the cell. See, it's B11. It's making all these references, but what are those cells, right? So you got to be careful with that. Okay. And like I said, we're doing all of this in my iteration of it, and I think my healthy iteration of it. But this is the auto dealer problem, and this is using a calculator, financial. I know some of the exams want you to use this, but I think the way some of these exams happen are very, very outdated. Very, very outdated. So like the CFA exam, it's good content, but the way it's tested is ancient, to put it mildly. With all due respect to the CFA Institute, which is a great institute, but it's not and this is the Peter Minuet problem. Yeah, I mean, come on. You need a model, you need a graph, you need tables, you need to look at it. You need to not just piecing around the answer. What does that 260 really mean? Negative, positive, what does that mean? You got to be careful with that stuff. But this is just using calculators, which we're not teaching that. Okay, or I'm not teaching that, at least. And now there's how many slides are here. We're up to 30, and there's 56 slides, and there's another 26, but perpetuities, annuities, this thing, the perpetuity for this. Unfortunately, this little formula is a big part of valuations. Unfortunately, they're used sort of in the equity markets today. Okay, so we have that. Okay, so we got through a couple of PowerPoints. The cash flow stuff is here. You're financing a purchase. Now, as I've said to you guys in the past, I've generally you do evaluation. You want to know today what that's worth. Okay, so this was that example where you had a 2-year time horizon, right? You had an 8% discount rate. You had 1,200 today and 1,400 a year from now. And the question is, this is the start of year one, and this is the end of year one, the end of year two, kind of a thing. So if this is the end of year one, it has one period. The start of year one has two periods. So you got to keep your periods in view. Okay, T0 is today. 1400 is a year from now. Whoops, there it is. Okay, so looking at this, we're looking at a future value version of things. Okay, we're looking at a future value version of things. You know, a way to look at it is say equals 1200 times 1 plus 8%. And this is two of these, right? Plus 8% plus 14 times 1 plus 8% once. Yeah, 2009-11. Isn't that what we had here someplace? Yeah, from the PowerPoints. We just discussed this. 2009-11. Okay, that's from the PowerPoints. Now, I did this in sort of one line, kind of a version. Another way to look at this, a second way, is to just break up the pieces where you want the value at T0. So this equals 1200 times 1 plus 8% to the second power. And then this next one equals this times 1 plus 8%. And this is that. And what you're hoping is when you add these up, you add the components up, you're going to get, yeah, oh, how about that? 2009-11. And then the third version is future value rate. Periods would be 2 for the 1200. You're not making payments. And the value is 1200 plus future value 8%, one period, nothing, and 14. And what you can do with this, you just put negatives in front of it to undo the. I don't think this is accounting. I think that's when it's read like that. That's currency. You got to be careful with that. This is accounting. So I want that. So copy, paste, formatting. Yeah, I want that to be accounting, not currency. Okay, so again, that's just using the future value functions is what that is. You can see that laid out right there, and you just go through and reference cash flows, percentages, how many years you're dealing with. And again, you just got to. So here, it says it right here, 1200 turns into 1,309, 1400 turns into 1,512. After 1 year, this is after 2 years. You know, that they what it turns into is that's your final answer right there. 2009-911. Okay. Then we had a third version of this. We're at 8%, 3 years, and then now you have 3 cash flows. And again, you want to keep in mind, if you're doing an acquisition valuation, you want to figure out, you know, the quality. You could do the best math, and the math is perfect and all that. But if the quality of your cash flows isn't very strong, so you really need to understand from an accounting perspective what cash flows you're talking about. Okay, as long as you understand that relatively well, and you can generally predict the next decade of what that'll look like, then you're gonna be in pretty good shape. We're gonna do all the same maneuvers that we just took care of. And actually, what we'll do is let's do the component one first. So the 1200 today has 3 years to work on, right? This is 1 plus 8%. That's got 3 years to work. All right, 1,511. This has 2 years to work. That's got a 2-year thing to work. And this has 1 year to work. Okay, you just add these 3 up. 4,224.61. And what we're hoping that is going to happen is, obviously the the rest of these are going to work for us also. All right, in the same. I changed the formatting. We're going to work for us in the same, get the same results. So here, let's use the function. Let's use the function. So we have 8%, right? And then we have this will be 3 years, which is right there. And this would be that cash flow. Okay, this would be 30. This would be 2 years. We hope, right? 2 years. And this is going to be 37. All right. And we're not there yet. We have 1 more to go. We can do plus future value. Oops, negative future value. And this would be the rate. This would be 1 year. This would be no payments. And this would be the 1,000. Oh, look at that. The same result. All right, 4,224. And again, you got to, this is rate, number of years, no payments, and then whatever the cash flow is, put a negative in front. So the sign gives you a direction, which means you've got to invest or you're getting paid. Okay, so if it's negative, that means generally you have to invest. If it's positive, that means you're getting paid. We're clearing that out. We're just sort of explaining it as we go along. But it says it right here. It says 1,200 turns into 1,511 after 3 years at 8%. 1,400 turns into 1,632 after 2 years at 8%, and 1,000 turns into 1,080 after 1 year at 8%. Okay, the other version of this is just to do it in one line for better or worse. Like that, the 8%, and this gets to work for 3 years, and this gets to work for 2 years, right? And this gets to work for 1 year. Well, surprise, surprise. The same 4,224. Doing it a couple different ways. We don't want currency there. Okay, this was just the accounting. Right, we had all that. It says the cash will do some of the future values of all the 3 deposits. So yeah, so we're looking. So if you make these 3 deposits today, a year from now, and then 2 years from now, what are you gonna have after 3 years at 8%? So you're gonna turn, nominally 3,600 into about 4,200, if you want to look at it like that. Even though that's not the greatest way to look at it, but that's kind of what you're doing. Okay. This is 5.7. Yeah, this is up. This is the car acquisition, right? This is the car acquisition. So you're again 8% cost of money, and we're going to do either 15,500. The first option now, or we'll do 8,000 and then 4,000 at the end of each of the next 2 years. So 8%, 2%. Okay, so you want to value. Okay, this one is already valued now. What that's worth. That's worth 15, and that's it. We have that valuation. This one we got to work on it. This is 8,000 today, 4,000 a year from now, 4,000 2 years from now. Okay, and this is just, and here, this, you could even do it like this, 8,000 times 1 plus 8% to no years, still 8,000, right? This, oops, oh no, this is actually at T0. So yeah, that has no time on it, right? That's that. This is 4,000 divided by 1 plus 8% to the first power. All right, 3,703. And then this is this 3,429, right? This is just 4,000 divided by 1 plus 8% to the second power. Now what you're going to do is you're going to add these up. And I think in the PowerPoint we had 15,001. We had that as a choice, 15,133. Okay, so looking at that, that's what those three cash flows are worth that today. Or you could pay 15,500. So obviously you go with option number 2 because the present value is less. Okay, this other piece of it, this is equal to present value, the rate. What are we talking about? This is 0 periods, 0 payments, and then 8,000. And again, you got the paste formula. Okay. You put in 8,000 plus present value, rate, comma, period 1, no payments, and you have a $4,000 payment right there. Okay, and then plus present value, rate. This is 2 periods, no payments, and then 4,000 again. Okay, there's your, now. Another way to get rid of the negatives is make all these payments negative, negative, negative. You could do it like that. Okay. Another way, just in one line, 8,000 plus 4,000 divided by 1 plus 8% plus 4,000 divided by 1 plus percent squared. See, same one. That's just one NGIT computational line is all that is. Okay, so again, so you've computed that option. Now this, what else is going on here? You have these tables that sort of explain, or the tables that sort of go through the payments. Okay, so you're 0 a year out, 2 years out. Okay. Yeah, so here's your balance. That's what you're looking to pay off. Now, this is going to be minus 8,000 minus 4,000 minus 4,000. Okay. So we have all those. And we're going to show how to pay the balance down to 0. This is just like a mortgage or anything that involves balances and payments and all these other types of things. Okay, so obviously the remaining balance would be this plus that. Okay, there's nothing earned here. And I guess what you could just do is I'm just looking at it. Yeah, we want to determine interest earned. And End of year, right? End of year. This thing is going to be copy Alt H formula, right? Which is that, which is 3. Yeah, we need the interest piece of this. And the interest piece of this. Yeah, because here's what you're doing. You're setting up for all these cash flows, right? For 8, 4, and 4. You paid 8, right? You paid 8. So what this problem tells you is you need to have 15,133 working. So after you pay the 8, at the end of the year, you're going to pay the 4, but you have the 7,000 working. So you say equals 8% annualized interest times 7,133. Okay, that's not necessarily remaining balance. See, this is that one, but really the better way to do it is just, yeah, that's the better way to do it. So, and that's end of year balance. So this is really, this is post your $4,000 payment, and this is your interest earned. So, or it's just this plus interest earned. Okay, this is simply that. You can lock that 8%. All right, row 64 or whatever. That's row 64. Yeah, 64. You can lock that 8%. Yeah, 296. And there it is. That's how that's 0. I did it a little bit differently than I did it here. But that just shows how you get to 0. So what this really means is, so after this year, you're going to pay that other 4,000, but you need to earn 296 in interest, which you did. So you're matching these two pieces, right? The 296 and the 296.30, right? To get to that 0 balance. So as you look at this, you start with 15,133. You pay 8,000. You have 7,133 left. That earns interest at 8%. Okay. So then you have this plus this. You pay out your balance. You pay out your 4,000. So this would be, yeah, you have 7,000. They take out the well, I'm saying, because the money works. This 570 works on the 7,000, not on the 3,000. Okay, because this is at the end of the year, is what this is. So this comes out at the end of the year. So you have 7,000. It earns this interest. You pull out the 4, and then you're left with 3,703. Okay, which is your next balance. That earns 296 in the year, which adds up to 4,000, and that's how you have a 0. Okay, so that's so, and just in 3 years, it's how you pay down that 15,133. This is how banks work. This is very big with mortgages, and how the banking system works, and any sort of planned cash flow operates like this. Okay, planned cash flows operate. So I said this isn't. I did this a little differently as I was explaining it to you guys, but here's your payments. These are your balances. This is, so in other words, you're taking 8% of that, you're taking 8% of that, and then this whatever, this 800 or so, 870, 860 or so of interest gets added on to these two amounts, and then it all adds up to that 15,133 that you paid out over a couple of years. Okay, but that's how you model out those cash flows. This other version of this is self-test. Oh, folks, I apologize. I didn't pull the textbook out. The textbook goes through, I guess their version of, how to do all that. Okay, so we have 7 self-test 5-4 here, and it says avoid estate taxes. A rich aunt wants to pay 10,000 per year for 4 years, or for year 1. Present value of the benefactor's playing gifts. The real interest rate is 7%. How much will you 4 years from now if you invest? Yeah, look, I took a course in this stuff at the Queen's College Legal Studies program. You can't do that. You can't do that. But or at least you have to. That's it's not as be very careful of taking advice from a finance book like that. Just that's hazardous to say the least. So, but a way to look at this, saying, okay, if you're anticipating, for $10,000 uh, cash flows, today, what is that worth? And the IRS has people who can do all these computations too. So just keep that in mind. Um, And this is done, some of these are done, I guess, maybe a little bit differently. There's a part A, there's a part B. So party one pays party two, 10,000 a year for 4 years. So here, what's really going on is this 10,000. So you're out there on Long Island, right? And you're getting your cash flows out in Queens or something like that, right? That's what you're getting. All right. So now end for whatever end means like that. Whoops. End was there. Yeah, you're gonna get the end of these 4 years. What is this worth today? Well, equals this divided by 1%, and this is a year out. And actually, what you can do with this, when you have a lot of them like this, you can lock on there, lock on there, and you can lock on there. And let's see if we just copy and paste what this does for us. Yeah, that's 7%. Yeah. Yeah. See? You do a little sort of creative anchoring of rows and columns, right? How you can manipulate your rows and columns. So to see the 7%, that's row 98. If you look at your spreadsheet, right? That's row 98. As you copy and paste, you're telling Excel, don't change the reference to that row. The column can change, but the row, but if it's the same column, it's never going to change. So you're locking into row 98, you're locking into the column AB, you're locking into column AC. So it just sort of, but again, you have to have a sense of this. I have a sense of it because I've done this for, your lifetimes, right? For quite a while. Right. So the present value of all these cash flows is 33,872. Right. This is, again, you're looking for present value. So this is divided 1 plus 7%. And this is a year out. That. And then what we'll do, there's 4 payments here, right? So this is 8. This is 9. There's 1, 2, 3. There should be another one. 8, 9, 10, 11, 98, 98, 98. And this is 9, 10, 11. Same thing, right? Just in one line. We did all in one line, basically. Right, just 10,000 divided by 1 plus 7% to 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. Okay, and then the other version of this that we keep going to here. This is going to be a couple of these. 1, 2, 3. There's actually 4 of these. Copy. There's your fourth one. And this is periods. This is 1 year. This is 2 years, right? AC 109, right? And this is all those are that. This is AB 109, 10, 111. That's all okay. And this is AC 110. Yeah, there it is. Okay, so we worked it out. We worked it out. All right. So you're referencing the 7% is in the first one. This is 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, and here's all your cash flows: 8, 9, 10, and 11. 8, 9, 10, and 11. Okay. And like I said, this is 10,000 working at a year, 10,000 working at 2 years, and then what this thing, what you have to have. So 10,000 a year out, you need 9,300 today. 10,000 2 years out, you need 8,700. 10,000 3 years out, 8,100. 10 years, 4,000 out, 7,600. And then just add those up. That's how you get 33,872. The present value of those 4 payments. Okay. And it looks like the next part of this, yeah, this was what they were worth today. And is that what they're how much will we have in 4 years? Okay, but and again, it's an innocent looking little question here, right? This is very innocent looking. This party will do the interest rate. Okay, no, we did have both, and it says how much if from now. It says if you invest 7%, starting. Okay. Yes, I put the text of the problem in there. So same thing with you guys. Copy right there. Okay, we put the text in. This other part, it's the same 10,000s. It's all that, right? It's all that. And then what we're looking for now is what this is going to be worth at T4. So a year in, this 10,000 works 3 years, right? At 7%. Okay, that'll work for 3 years at 7%. So this, we're going to lock that. We'll lock that. Okay, copy old HP formula. This is 2 years this works. And this works for 1 year. And this one works for no years. Okay. That's how you got the 44,000, 399. Okay. This is future value of that rate. AD 98 periods, 3 periods, no payments. That's your 10,000, right? And this is going to be the paste, paste, paste. Okay. So this would be 131, 32, 133. Same rate there. This would be 131, 30, and this is 0. Yeah, there's your 44. All right, that's your 44, and this is all negative, negative. I mean, you're putting them in. Okay. That's if you want to use the future value. The function, you could do that. And the other version, this is just a one-line version. This is this thing plus this times 1 plus. You could even just type 7% if you want, whatever that is. AD 98 for year plus this times plus 8 squared plus AD 98 third power. Okay. That's what that is. Okay. That was the chapter. Now, again, be careful taking legal advice from a finance textbook. I'd be cautious with that. All right. Yeah, we didn't hit the perpetuity stuff, but just as we're sort of here and we have a couple minutes, at least we could even maybe discuss, even though we're gonna, we're probably gonna pick it up here, is really where we're gonna pick it up next time, which is sort of right there. But just a couple of these up here. An annuity, they're equally spaced level streams of cash flows with an infinite maturity. A stream of level cash payments that theoretically never terminate. It's an annuity that lasts forever, which is what a perpetuity is. And again, to sort of, I hate to say to match what's happening with the sort of the industry value, the valuations of the market, but as terrible as it is, but the markets do use the perpetuity idea. They do use the perpetuity idea to in their valuations. So what this means is, and what that means is, so if you've initially got $100, the rate out there that you can get is 10%. And what you would do is you'd have the product of these two, right? You'd have the product of that. And what you would say is, so what is this worth? So you would take your well, that's the earnings. That's the earnings. The value would be obviously 110. You would take 110 divided by the 10%. That's what, so to determine the value today. All right, so whatever the cash flow is a year from now divided by the rate. And here's payment from the perpetuity, interest rate. So the present value. So divide C by R to get PV. Yeah, it's right there. The present value of the perpetuity. And again, that, for better or worse, that does play a big role in your valuations. Okay, that does play a big role because that's just the state of the art. That's how people look at it. All right, what's this other thing here? This is there's a delayed perpetuity. We have some of those. But I guess we're gonna see this in the PowerPoints next time. But I just wanted to sort of, because I knew I was gonna have a few minutes, so I just want to sort of shoehorn this in here. This sort of big little box here. What is this? This is 10% interest rate. Cash flow is $1. Okay, you have $1 cash flow. And so, you're getting it, dollar all the time. And you have that rate that you can use. So you have these three little sort of pieces here you want to look at. So if you need some amount of a perpetuity. So what that means is if you're getting $1, every year, the value today of that dollar is 90 cents at 10%. Okay. That's per dollar. But looking at this, this you want to obtain 100,000 or whatever it may be. But then you want to look at the valuation of this. The valuation is this. So if the payment is $1 and this is 10%, you're going to say equals 1 divided by your rate. So the value, and again, I'm not saying it seems counterintuitive, but what it's basically saying is if you want to throw off a certain amount of cash flows over the years that just goes on for as long as you live, what do you need today? And as you can see up here, you need $1 million today at 10% to generate 100,000. I think all of us could live very happily on 100,000. I think we'd all be okay with that. Okay, so $1 million invested at 10% throws off. Yeah, that's it. There's a story of my life. Let's say it like that, right? So, and obviously, in terms of the how many times you're looking at this is just going to be this divided by. And that should be a number. That shouldn't be accounting. That should be a number. Okay. 11 times, and even get rid of that 0. So the payment of $1 at the end of the year is a present value of 1 over 1 plus R. The perpetuity is a present value of 1 divided by R. So again, it's good you saw this, right? It's good. And then you have these delayed perpetuities, and there's one here. This is in pounds, which the UK, yeah, they're not in the euro now, so they probably still use sterlings. Okay, so for this version of things, what did we say up here? We said you want 100,000 a year, right? That's what you want. You're looking for 100,000 a year. And you want the first payment 4 years from now. So you have some agreement where you're okay for 4 years, but in 4 years you want these payments to start. So and the question is going to be, what do you need now to do that? That's the question. It's going to be, what do you need now to do that? So if the rate is 10%, 10%, and we're going to look. We're looking for this. We're looking for what the initial investment, would be. Okay. Okay. So what you'll do is you'll say, okay, we've got payments, we've got our rate. I need $1 million at the end of 3 years. So that $1 million would work for a year at 10% to throw off 100,000. But the value of that $1 million today, all right, the value of that $1 million today is going to be that $1 million divided by 1 plus 10%. And then we have 3 years to look at that. And there it is. There's your. Oh, year 1, year 2, nothing's going on. So you put 751,315 to work in whatever John Bogle's index fund or something, it operates at 10%. It builds up to $1 million, and then you start pulling out 100,000, but the $1 million stays there and just keeps generating that money. Now, what that 100,000 will buy today versus 1923 or 1926 or 1945 is a different story. This is an initial iteration of these types of problems, but this is there's a little more to this. There's a little more to this. So I don't want that. There's a little more to this than this making it this simple. Okay, you want to grow what you get every year, it's maybe 2% or something, and you can sort of work at that. And we did some checks here. What were the checks that we did? Yeah, the check is you're going to take 751 times 1 plus 10%. Okay, which is 1,000,000. And then, yeah, you're going to say equals this times that 10%. There's your 100,000. And another way to look at this, we did something else here. We took this 751 and said equals this times 1 plus set. See, every year it just grew by 10% without us taking anything out, and that was it. Okay. There. Now with the PowerPoints tomorrow, when we pick up with the PowerPoints or tomorrow, whenever the next video I do. Today was 6. This was 30 to 46 would be the next videos or the next PowerPoints. 30. Yeah, it's you're gonna hear the same. It's good. You'll see this again, so you have some idea. And it's whatever it is, 30 to, yeah, it'll be 30 to 46 next time we get together on video. Yeah, 30 to 46. Okay. So there. So again, so you had some background with this, and again, you're not going to learn it unless you try. You got to try to, you got to spend some time with the material. You have to. And every year we have people say, "Oh, I'm not going to try. I'm going to wait," and then it sort of collapses on top of you. And I've seen it every time. I've seen it a long time. So you don't want that to happen. Okay, you don't want that to happen. You want to stay up with it and work out the models as I work them out. All that. Okay. All right, folks. Enzo Di Costanzo podcast signing off. Okay, so we'll see you next time. Study, do this work, study.